3 more short Dragon Ball what-ifs requested by viewers, starting with one from Maurice Marvelo Maximilian on what if Buu absorbed Goku, him doing so during his first fight, and Goku being too confused about the technique to counter it. Unlike with those the evil Buu absorbed, who didn't affect his personality from it being well defined, the fat Buu's innocence allows some elements of Goku to seep in, and then fooling Babidi as usual. Baba arrives but quickly leaves when realizing she can't bring Goku back. Without teaching the kids fusion though, Piccolo orders them to go into the room of spirit and time to become as strong as possible. After a day, both manage to attain Super Saiyan 2 and 3. Meanwhile, Goku's influence still isn't enough to stop Buu from eating people, but Mr. Satan's charisma is. The kids don't leave the room quick enough to prevent the gunman's actions, and Buu still performing a Bunrei. But Goku remains within the good Buu, and makes him powerful and skilled enough to best the pure evil Buu, turn him into chocolate, and make him part of him again, before getting rid of the gunman and his aide. It's about an hour or so later that not only do Goten and Trunks arrive to challenge Buu, but Gohan as well, with all three having improved enough to outmatch Buu. But Super Saiyan 3's drain, quickly making Gohan the one to put him in his place. Gohan spares Buu, and tells him it's not good to keep his father trapped in him, as Buu expels Goku, before he returns to Otherworld, as Baba has been delayed a fair bit. Goku goes to New Namek to erase most people's memories of Buu, revive what remaining victims there are, and leave in the last wish, before teaching fusion and returning to Otherworld. As Goku didn't have the foresight Vegeta had, this revives Babidi and his minions too, with Babidi rendezvousing with Dabra and the rest as they use their energy measuring device to find where Buu may be, Babidi sealing Buu away in his ball when the opportunity emerges, while Dabra successfully spits on Gohan. Goten and Trunks then go Super Saiyan 2 to try and eliminate these foes, overloading Yakon in his attempt to counter them, as Vegeta arrives to make sure Dabra and Babidi are eliminated. In Daima, Vegeta takes Goku's place, and Piccolo's concerns at just he and Vegeta taking on the unknown foes has him check on Gohan, and have him come along, with things going near enough the same in structure, beyond never unlocking Super Saiyan 4 for Vegeta. For Super, Beerus is able to calmly ask about the Super Saiyan God, which the Dragon Balls are used to learn of it, Rodai Kaioshin having Kibito bring Goku to the Kaioshinkai, and gives him his life to complete the ritual. Vegeta is the one chosen to become it here, through both having more reasons to push himself after the events with Buu and Goma than Goku, and wishing to make up for his past mistakes. Goku achieving the form soon after, and both being tutored by Whis as normal. Events in Super are relatively unchanged until after the Tournament of Power, as Daikaioshin's God Key remaining in Buu keeps Moro sealed. The Granola arc doesn't occur, and it's not until around the events of Super Hero that Goku masters Ultra Instinct in time to test Gohan. Without Goku or Oob, GT Pilaf is quickly stopped by Popo, and Baby's development goes undisturbed. Shin and his ancestor become aware of him when he makes his conquest overt, and inform the Dragon Team once Baby reaches the solar system. Vegeta says Goten and Trunks can get their potential unleashed, but that such a power-up isn't one he'd be proud of, as he'll defend the Earth until they are done. It's in doing so that Vegeta and Gohan prove no match for Baby's perfect form, and are made his servants, even if he's now too large to make them permanent hosts. Goten and Trunks know the only option is to fuse, with Ultimate Gotenks' power and techniques easily destroying Baby, while restraining Vegeta and Gohan for Kibito Shin to remove their eggs. Even Gotenks' new power isn't enough to topple Super 17 though, but it does keep him in the fight long enough for 18 to arrive and expose his weakness. A combined attack from everyone, finishing Super 17 off, unsure of their chances against the evil dragons. Goten and and Trunks then use the Room of Spirit and Time again to bring out the utmost limits of their potential, while Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, and Pan face the evil dragons after they defeat Lian Shinlong as well as Wu Shinlong purely through the rain. Goten and Trunks work their way through the rest, serious about the situation, and Gotenks easily averts this crisis. It's from this that we see an overlooked aspect of Goku's first fight with Buu, being that even though he could have defeated Buu, the many factors surrounding it make it debatable if he certainly would. The next one comes from Rod the Digger, on what if the Kinto'un didn't exist. The first thing this changes is Kame Sennin's reward for Goku, with him giving away the Sanshinchu without propositioning Buruma. Goku still manages to catch up to and save Ulan by maneuvering the Nyoibo, though it being more difficult than usual, and has to do a similar pole vault stunt with Chi-Chi to get over the ocean at a slower pace. The remainder of the initial journey for the Dragon Balls goes the same and changes only when the Red Ribbon Army search for them. Goku still employs the same Nyoibo vault, but struggles to do so quickly to get to the western capital, and makes him lag behind the movements of the army. Blue's team invades the pirate cave entirely, with him managing to get the Sanshinchu. Yellow throws Upa down, who is saved by Bora, but has Yellow leave with the Sushinshu, and Violet eventually finds the Chi Shinshu, with the Red Ribbon Army having gathered most of them by the time he arrives at Kame House. Goku decides to invade their base to see if they have the Sushinshu and stop their activities, but Muten Roshi says he stands no chance and it's best to seek out Kadin if wanting to vastly improve his strength. Goku goes through the same Shugyo as normal, defeats the Red Ribbon Army, but has no desire to find the rest of the Dragon Balls after getting the Sushinshu, instead preparing for the Tenkaichi Budokai. Pilaf eventually chooses to go after Goku with the Pilaf machines, but is easily defeated. A major change in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai is that Suru Sennin convinces Tao Pai Pai to come with him to showcase Tenshin Han's progress, and his role model being there makes it far more difficult to convince Ten to turn away from Suru Sennin's teachings. Having been told of Goku's tail weakness by Yamcha, Kuririn makes it to the finals, where Tenshin Han easily defeats him, and isn't dissuaded from his path. Goku is energetic enough to get his Nyoibo and Sushinshu himself, facing and defeating Tambourine, before Roshi recommends he return home to figure out Piccolo Daimao's plan. The Daimao targets them when the remaining Dragon Balls are in their possession, and forces the Kame-sen Ryu fighters to face him. They are no match for him, with Goku's heart stopping temporarily as usual, Kuririn and Yamcha being slain, and Roshi failing with the Mafuba, with nobody being left to save Goku. Piccolo then has no issue in becoming Yun and conquering the world, but there are those who prepare to oppose him. Suru Sennin takes his brother and students into the mountains to prepare them, Tenshin Han becoming strong enough that he's able to defeat Piccolo Daimao 3 years later. Without any need to push himself further though, he and the Surusen Ryu group have no chance against Raditz, who annihilates most of humanity, until Gero is forced to unleash the newly created artificial human 13, despite the issues with his personality. 13 saves the Earth from Raditz, with Vegeta having no interest in Earth without the Dragon Balls. This savior role has Gero gain enough influence. He is granted a great governmental position, to the point world domination through force isn't necessary, especially once updating 13 to be fully loyal to him. It's only a brief piece, however, with him being far too underprepared to combat Babidi, who eventually succeeds in awakening Buu, as in many other scenarios. It's in this one that we see why the Kinto'un is such an iconic part of early Dragon Ball, despite becoming irrelevant once Goku learnt Bukujutsu. Beyond some stamina conservation, a crucial tool during the early arcs. The final request is from Just Your Normal Joe, on what if Gohan perished against Cell and caused Goku to become a Super Saiyan 2, the divergence being through Gohan not mentioning his rage, and Cell instead bringing out his full power to eliminate him once he gets bored. Though significantly weaker than Gohan in equal forms, Goku is still strong enough to overpower Cell and dodge the attacks of his power-weighted self, wearing him down quickly before aiming a Shunkan Ido Kamehameha below him to envelop Cell entirely and end things there. Despite this, having witnessed what Gohan went through causes Chi-Chi to see Goku as having gone too far and acts very distant from him, while demanding Gohan never be forced to fight again, nor Goten when he's born. Meanwhile, having never fully acknowledged how much he values his son at the Cell game, causes Vegeta to be stricter on Trunks, tutoring his present self as early as 5 through a strict regimen. Chi-Chi still accepts Gohan and Goten participating in the Budokai, and has had enough time to forgive Goku for it not being a permanent loss, but has him promise to win the Budokai, or sure Gohan does, in order to make up for his mistake at the Cell game. Goten is no match for Trunks despite Goku's efforts to help him, and seeing Vidal's helplessness and reminded of himself against Cell, Gohan transforms into a Super Saiyan 2. Things change when Shin chases Popovich and Yamu, as acknowledging his promise to Chi-Chi. Goku chooses to stay at the Budokai, as do Gohan and Vegeta, Piccolo and Kuririn being the ones to leave. Kuririn is turned into stone to bait Piccolo inside, but Piccolo is aware the Saiyans are needed against one like Dabra, heading back to the Budokai. In this short time, with only Great Saiyaman remaining out of the first half, Mr. Satan decides to change the order to have himself serve as the Super Champion and match Great Saiyaman against whoever takes 18's place. Piccolo arrives in the middle of Goku's fight with Vegeta, with Goku telling Gohan to win the Budokai once hearing Kuririn's life is in danger, and Chi-Chi accepting it when Vegeta leaving too makes Gohan's win assured. This results in the final being Great Saiyaman versus Mighty Mask, where Gohan quickly becoming aware of who this is and calling them out, has him win by default, then defeating Mr. Satan to become champion. Vegeta then swiftly defeats Dabura, while Shin and Piccolo stop Babidi, and splits a Senzu with Goku, for both to be at their best when fighting outside the ship. Goku barely winning due to his better techniques, and Vegeta accepting what makes them different, but being far more determined to surpass Kakaroto than his usual post-Buu arc self, when having almost made up for the huge advantage Goku had 7 years ago with his effort. Videl then starts becoming the regular champion of the Tenkaichi Budokai from the 26th onwards, when Gohan wants to focus on studies and tutors her well enough on Ki for her to have no issues. For Super, Beerus asks about the Super Saiyan God calmly. Goku becomes it, and with Frieza pushing himself as far as usual when told Goku has become far stronger, events go the same until the Tournament of Power. Having never had his potential unleashed, the far weaker Gohan gets knocked out very quickly by Bergamo, resulting in Kefla dealing far more damage to Universe 7, who are even more debilitated beforehand, with Yamcha and Chaozu taking 17 and 18's places, and Jiren getting his wish. In GT, Pilaf is stopped by Popo, and Baby's development goes undisturbed, but is something Shin eventually becomes aware of, preparing Goku and Vegeta, both begrudgingly getting their potential unleashed, and a previously showcased Ultimate Vegeta defeats Baby scenario occurring. It's here we see the major impact the Cell game had on character dynamics between those such as Goku, Gohan, and Chi-Chi. Thank you for having watched through all these what-ifs. Post any requests, like, subscribe if not already, and check out some more. With that, see you later.